Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia on another fine Monday morning to share the following entrainment, the following contemplation with you. I exist. I'm aware that I exist. Do I delight in this awareness? Is it simply enough to think? Let's explore how we may know our existence in such a way that we actualize the experience of knowing as opposed to the experience of thinking we know. So really this is about becoming more aware in a way that is beyond the mind, the capacity of the mind to know. So if you look back on your history, as I'm looking back on mine right now, we know that we are born, we are first entrained, you might say, by our parents and the experience we have at birth and in our initial years of growing up. We're given a name. Our parents keep giving us that name, they repeat that name, and along with that, we are experiencing a union with them. And that could be a positive union or a negative union in our experience. And then from there we're told things directly or indirectly, but all the information we're exposed to, whether it's something that people are intending or whether they're just making some comment, it goes straight into us. And at a very young age, up to about the age of 7, all that information goes straight into our mind. And it's taken as truth, it's taken as a fact. So a joke can be taken as something that's giving us a negative impression of ourselves, or it could also mean that we're told something to give us a exaggerated perspective on who we are. But people that are speaking to us when we're a child, when we're a baby, don't think about this. They don't realize that that information is actually being taken in. And when they're speaking to us as we're growing up and going to school, again, it's all based on the superficial thinking knowledge of who we are and what life is. Our teachers talk to us in a way that is different than our parents because we're gone from a home where we're more or less accepted to a school where it's more competitive and we're being measured and graded in relation to the people that we are in school with and in our classrooms. So it's a very different environment, and there's no user manual. There's no one to sit down and explain, usually anyway, that you're going into a different environment and to grow with it rather than take it seriously. So my experience as I was going through these younger years in my life, it varied. There were some very positive years and there were some very negative years, but there was still just thinking. I was thinking this about myself, I was thinking that about myself. I was aware that I was thinking, I was aware that I was alive, but I was so busy from moment to moment, trying to maintain some kind of a positive experience about myself and about the people in my world, that that became the major focus. It was an external focus. The objective world had to say that I was okay for me to feel good about myself. And there's where we learn to be codependent upon the opinions and expressions of the people and so forth that we encounter in our life, because we really don't know. We're not grounded in the truth of our own being. So the only thing we've ever learned to go by is what people are saying, and they're saying things based on what they think because they're in the same position. And this basis of knowing, because of what we think and our opinions and what we have experienced based on experiences we had in our life, is a superficial kind of knowing. It's not really consistent, and it's not based on the ground of our being. So this is what this is really about. I exist. I am aware that I exist, but do I delight in this awareness? So the kind of awareness that we need to touch upon, the kind of awareness that we need to be exposed to, is a deeper kind of awareness, an awareness that goes to the roots of our very existence. I'm aware that I exist, but what is that? I exist, but I was born, so where was I before I existed, as far as my mind knows? And I know people die, so where do they go when their life is over? So existence itself becomes kind of a questionable thing, and we see life as a temporary experience, but we shut that out because we're too busy just trying to be accepted in the moment that we are alive here and now. So if you're fortunate, at some point in your life, you'll be exposed to these questions from someone or some source of authority on meditation and holistic lifestyle. The traditional ways that human beings have always discovered that they exist. They discovered the awareness of that existence as themselves. And as they create the balance and their mind becomes less and less active and more balanced in itself, then they start to develop the capacity to open up their own hearts. And the perceptions from the heart is a very unified perception as opposed to the polarized perception of the mind. And then you open up to the subtler dimensions of yourself as you meditate and live a holistic lifestyle, a lifestyle that supports your balance. And in this process, if you are prepared for this process, and it will just happen for you if you have had enough life experiences as a human being, you will gradually work yourself to the point where the superficiality of the external world and the negative experiences that it always delivers, ultimately, kind of wear you out, and you get tired of it, and gradually you begin to move more and more into a space where you're motivated to go deeper. And as that happens, that creation begins to manifest for yourself in your life. And a teacher will show up eventually, and that teacher will help to guide you to the truth of who you are in terms of teaching you how to meditate, teaching you how to live in a way that supports the experiences that you gain in a meditative lifestyle. That's called a holistic lifestyle, where your diet and your exercise and everything that you need to keep your body in its maximum state of balance, so that you can have subtle dimensional experiences which are very powerful and very energetic. And as you maintain and grow your capacity to experience yourself at a deeper, more subtle level, then this knowing becomes experiential as opposed to mental. You're no longer just thinking about who you are, you're discovering who you are in a way that is energetic, in a way that is consistent, other than the fact that it just keeps getting better. It's a delightful energy that comes into your awareness and comes into your experience. And as this develops and becomes consistent, when it's there every moment of every day, you're delighting in the awareness that you exist. Your mind is still there, you're still thinking, and you may still have the experience of the polarized field of experience that your ego is having. But at the same time, and with more power, your own presence, the presence of yourself as whatever the source of everything is there, and it's happening for you as you. So this is the pathway to delighting in the awareness that you exist, because that's the nature of existence, really. And the mind, of course, and all the stories that it creates about life and about who we are can take all kinds of turns, and it's inconsistent. It cannot maintain a focus at all because it is in the dynamics of a polarized reality, so the polarities are constantly shifting and you're being influenced by the external world at that level of awareness. But as you develop a more subtle awareness of who you are and what life is, that there is more power, there is more delight, because that's the nature of existence. And it just keeps growing as long as you nurture and maintain your holistic lifestyle. And as this continues to grow, the question about I exist, I'm aware that I exist, and do I delight in this awareness becomes very obvious to you. Of course you delight in your existence because that's the nature of your existence. And the identification that you struggled with when you were young and as you went through life before you started to meditate, that identification, your name and all the stuff that you attributed to that name based upon experiences in relation to the people and situations outside of yourself, they lose power because the illusory nature of such experience becomes more and more apparent. And you realize that the delight that you're experiencing because of your meditation and holistic lifestyle practice is a fundamental, basic experience of yourself. And then you also begin to incorporate the people in your world. You see it that way, and you begin to realize that it's all the same source. It's all the same consciousness. It's all one delighting energy. And it doesn't matter what it's doing or where it thinks it's going and so forth and so on. It's an eternal delighting energy that exists simply because it does. And there is no other. So the play is there. You have the play of the polarities, you have the play of illusion, of the other, and then you have the energetic experience, the subtle experience, experiential knowing that you simply are. And that's enough. So that's the answer to the question. I exist. I'm aware that I exist. Do I delight in this awareness? If you meditate, if you live a holistic lifestyle, if you are fortunate enough to find a good teacher and stay with that teacher and follow their advice and instructions to guide you through these experiences that you have in such a lifestyle, then you will eventually establish the presence of yourself as the awareness of yourself. And as that happens, life just becomes more and more like a game. And you are delighting in your awareness, and what more could you want? It's what people are trying to get to all their lives, but they're trying to get it from something outside of themselves, which is not true. It doesn't, it's not the truth of who you are. And so it just simply can never deliver the experience you want it to deliver. And when you try to get that experience from outside of yourself often enough, you open yourself to the possibility that maybe it's going to come some other way. And then eventually it does. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. It's always basically the same sharing. Contemplations are always about the truth of who we are. It's part of the meditative and holistic lifestyle that we have lived here that has brought us to realize the truth of who we are at some level. And that level is never the same. It keeps growing and growing and growing. So the delight of existence is something that I have developed and experienced within myself. And I regard myself as very fortunate of having this experience and And that is why I share these contemplations every Monday morning here from the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia. So it is my wish that you will embrace the possibility that you too are consciousness, and that you also can delight in your own existence, not dependent upon anything or anyone outside of yourself. So that's my final note for this live video stream today. I'll be back again next Monday to continue the exploration and sharing.